Alright, today we're going to talk about my instructional unit on face-to-face conversation, and we're going to do this through a PowerPoint. Let me back up and get to the right spot here so we can start from the beginning. Alright, this will be a quick chronological overview. It's going to focus mainly on Module 1, but you'll see rationales for goals and objectives. Those will be in yellow. You'll see the design and materials for each part. I'll talk about that. The experiences and evaluation, and finally in blue, you'll have things about the learners and how that was integrated in. The course was focusing on a toolbox of strategies to give students to be stronger in face-to-face communication and to build their confidence. That was the overall goal, and that came from the needs assessment survey. The modules were presented in Google Slides, and they happened in my living room face-to-face. This was a change. Originally, I was going to do most of it online with the practices and speaking experiences being in person, but I felt like after the advice of several smart people that face-to-face would be better. This did cause me to have to condense my modules into sessions, so I had 2 modules per session, but we were able to actually meet every time, so that was good. The learners were 19 to 24 years old and involved in our church college ministry. So everything I did, I took that into consideration, and thankfully I had the benefit of knowing these students for over a year, so I kind of have an idea of their likes and dislikes. Module 1 fit into the overall goal by focusing on students' personal expectations and communication. And this blended in with Module 2, which dealt with anxieties and triggers related to those expectations. I began by talking about their needs assessment survey. What are the things that you guys said were positive in a conversation and negative? And we built upon those needs. And I think this provided motivation to them because they saw that I was actually considering the feedback that they gave. I used cool folders, let them pick their own, one that expressed their personality. This was another learner thing, motivator. They kept all their materials in this folder. Lots of memes were used because in their learning styles survey, images, visual, they like videos, they're big on that. So I use memes, and when I say meme, I mean a picture that includes overlaid words that point out irony or point out something humorous in the picture. The articles I texted to students via GroupMe because this allowed them to have a digital copy right in front of them. It also kind of immortalized it. And if you don't know what GroupMe is, I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. The videos we watched as a whole group in the living room. So here's GroupMe. It's just an app for your phone. You can also get on it via the computer. It's a group of however many people. We have 12 members. This has been going on for like a year and a half. And they talk in it all the time. You text something and all 12 members see what it is. You can put in the memes, you can put in the articles, or just comment on daily life. This was good and became a form of evaluation because I could see what students were saying about the course, and I could see the memes that they posted in there. This was one of the assignments they had to do, post their own meme that expresses how they feel in face-to-face communication. They loved it. And so they already post memes all the time. This was not something new to them. And so no huge cognitive overload. They were just able to do it, and it engaged them too. This is what one of the articles looked like. So I would paste the link in there. I would give them an advanced organizer that they could utilize to jot down notes. This was another form of evaluation. I could tell what things they were pointing out interesting to them. I could see how well they were following along based on how they filled out the segment, and it gave them kind of a springboard when we had discussion. They could look down at their notes and discuss. Every module ended with a growth phase that involved personal research or practice, and in the second one, they actually had to have a conversation with a stranger. Now, in the needs assessment, when I was thinking about these assignments and practices, No one picked group work as one of their prime learning styles. Like 0 people chose that they liked group work. But I know there are benefits to it, and when I asked them why, they didn't like that their grade depended upon somebody else and the schedules, and so they had bad experiences. However, they did acknowledge that having a partner or having a group is a good thing because you get support. So I kind of went off that. So they went as a group to a place of their choice. They took the rubric on the left, you can see. We went over this, and I could see how well they progressed. They could see how well they progressed. This was the same rubric we used throughout the entire course of the project. They went to the grocery store. They planned out their conversation agenda, is what I called it, by anticipating things they might say to people when they went into Harps. So what kind of people are they going to meet? They had really negative assumptions about the experiences they were going to have. They thought people would be too task-oriented and busy to want to talk to them. But when we did this, they felt equipped, and so they went out and struck up conversations with strangers and really had positive results when they came back. Not many people filled this out, even though we talked about it, and I do think it was a time thing. I think it was too much to do, too little time, and so maybe slowing down, and you'll see that criticism later on. One of the starters, an example would be if you see a mom and her children, one of the college girls might go up and say, "Oh my gosh, your daughter has such a cute outfit on. Where'd you get that? You know, I have a niece and so start your conversation that way." However, a young college guy might not be able to use the same conversation starter without sounding like a creeper. So we talked about creeper conversation topics versus legit conversation starters. The rubric was key throughout the whole thing, and the categories are not random. They are closely tied to the objectives, and it was built from the concept map, which I shared with the students. This is like an overlay, an anchor piece for assessment and evaluation in the direction we were headed in the course. Their final experiences were in the church and at Sonic. At Sonic, they sat down together and got to talk to each other. The goal was to move from small talk to genuine conversation. So we had one module on that. And then the final module asked them to go into church and talk with a stranger and move from small talk to genuine conversation. This was the most difficult of all, and I think in the future, the slowing down of it, more opportunities to try, would help with that one as well. But it reduced cognitive load to have the same rubric and similar formatting. Every lesson or session ended with an evaluation. Students gave me feedback. It told me how clear it was, the impact it had on them. The final lesson left them with something to take from this. I didn't want the class to just end. I wanted their growth to continue. I wanted their views and thoughts about face-to-face conversation to change. And so they set up goal statements. These steps here let me see the depth to which they engage with the strategies for face-to-face conversation. And the accountability partner was more something they mentioned. They liked the support of a partner or friend. And so this would make sure that they had someone to go to help them continue to implement these things in their lives. So the final rating, I had a final course evaluation, and here are some of the details from that. 83 participants rated the unit a 9 or higher on a scale of 1 to 10. They enjoyed the experience overall. The materials and videos used have a few issues. My one-to-one, he was a little older. He was my husband, and so he didn't like the materials as much as some of the younger students did. So that's something to take into consideration. The growth area, I wish could have been higher. And that's my husband on number 1. He didn't fully participate in the activities, so I mean, he went over them, he observed them, and gave me feedback, but he didn't have a lot of growth there. He was just trying to be honest about his level of growth, whereas the other students did have, some growth, but I wish that number were higher. So that indicates some changes definitely need to be made. So what next? What will be kept? The objectives and goals, I think, are clear. The activities were successful as far as engagement and analysis goes, and the GroupMe and Google Slides allowed for clear delivery. Those were positive. What I'll change would be the duration of the unit, give us more time. The learners are going to be asked to